always at top of mind and heart, I guess, is how it affects the developer experience. Because while AI is at an individual level really positively affecting it, it seems they're enjoying working with it. And it's allowing, and this whole idea that's great, that it's allowing people that are not technologists to create tech or participate in the creation of tech, I think is important in one way because, well, we've always been very gatekeepy and it is the future, and the future cannot be only created by white men or Southeast Asian men, which
Agreed.
has always been the problem in tech and always been the problem, especially in open source. But allowing subject matter experts to create this, to create technology and participate in that creation is better for the users. It's better for everyone. Like nurses should be creating software if they want to, or at least spinning up prototypes of what they want. So what is actually created by the technologists is better, and we're then serving people that really matter, like nurses that take care of everyone and very underpaid. But I also, at top of mind or bottom of heart, I worry about what's happening with security, with guardrails, with best practices seem to be falling through the cracks. And it's just what's a Dora call it, the 2025 Dora called AI an amplifier. So if you've got shit in, shit out situation with best practices, et cetera. But also, of course, those are solvable issues because platform engineering is the conduit for successful AI and those guardrails and the paths when you want to give a little more autonomy, but guardrails also work and sometimes gates are necessary. But then on the other side, I don't fully know what the problem is around employment. Like 900,000 young people in the UK, where I'm based, are unemployed right now, which is like the size of the third largest city in the UK. So that means people like 16, 18 to 30. That's a massive amount for a little country comparatively to the US. We know the US has a worse unemployment problem, and it's much easier to fire people. As I learned at the blog I've been writing for the longest time, just let go of their pretty much all their entire staff. And we don't know why, because it's at will employment in the US. I'm grateful as a freelancer that gives me actually more security for now. So hopefully that continues. And I do believe in this idea you should hire the best person anywhere for the job, but there has to be jobs. And that kind of, to be a little Debbie Downer, that's what has me concerned right now because I think everything else can be, there are a lot of technical and socio-technical solutions to a lot of this. Like what we said with platform engineering is like proven now as the way of doing AI. So, and with platform engineering comes all the best practices we've always had: continuous testing, continuous integration, version control, DevOps, CI/CD. It can go on and on. We all know the best progressive delivery, everything. But what a turnaround it's been in the last couple of years. And I don't want to blame AI for this, actually. I think AI is just an excuse that we no longer care for our technologists and our tech creators. I don't know.
I love it. There's so much in there we could, so many different holes we could drive into there. For me, the API thing has long been, and I hate using the word now, democratization, because it's been rendered so meaningless in so many situations, is you take a company's resources and you open them up via APIs, and that's REST, your resources, your maps, your images, Instagram images, WhatsApp messaging, YouTube videos, those resources, and then you build this world where developers can build things, and then you can maybe hire that developer because you see they're building something cool. They could build a startup that could get acquired. I mean, Instagram, WhatsApp were startups in Facebook's ecosystem, and Facebook acquired them. And so it was just a really exciting time. But I feel like right now, we're being now told, oh, go fill out a bunch of skills. You know what job you do, that expertise you have? Like, please fill out these skills, everything you do, refine your job, everything, round off all the corners, and then submit that in so that we can let you go. And, it kind of describes what.
That, yeah. If you get that little bit of notice, at least in Europe, they have to give you that notice and they have to give you right. But at will employment and the healthcare vibe, I had even lived in Europe so long I'd forgotten about that for my friends that were suddenly let go. It's LinkedIn's a bummer right now, and I'm not complaining about it. I'm glad people are talking about it. It's a mix of ICE raids because I forgot how many technologists I'm connected to live in specifically Minneapolis or Chicago, places like that are under siege, and people who were a couple years ago making baller money in tech and now homeless. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
we need to, especially if we're going to use AI to replace parts of our jobs, we have to have a human safety net.
yeah. Yeah, no, and I mean, I have people who used to be fairly critical of me being opinionated and kind of political and what I do as API evangelist are now like, I'm like, damn, okay, yeah, I'm on board with that. Like, thank you, like, anti-ICE or other things. And so from a platform perspective, I mean, this is kind of what I did a lot of with platform work in different companies is consolidating, making developers' lives easier. I mean, this was an extension of developer relations for me. DevOps is how do you help developers, empower them, guide them, aggregate, consolidate, provide learning resources, educational resources, stories. Um, but how can we do that, I guess, external? How do we build more solidarity amongst all the people in the API in the tech space? Because I don't feel like that's something we've had to do to date.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going to happen. That's the thing. Everyone's adopting all this and producing more code because guess what? Writing code was never the bottleneck. We've been saying that for years, but let's help developers write code faster. It's good for some things like documentation. Like, what have we been 15 years knowing each other, kid? And what is the number one thing
Yeah,
developers have complained about but not wanted to participate in the creation of docs?
yeah,
Do I still think we need docs writers in there to curate? Yes. But I think there are some that part of the documentation life cycle that's improved. But I just think we're really behaving in a small-minded way about our code, about our technology, about our adoption of AI, and not people-centric. And what's the point? Like, who wants to, personally, I've never wanted to run a business. That's why I'm self-employed. So I've not really empathized with that ability. I've never had the ability to manage people. But are people starting businesses just because they want to then eventually replace these humans? Where's the joy in your work?
yeah, yeah. I think it's part of a wider belief that capital is king and labor isn't, and we're kind of in a post-labor world where you go get funding and you do some magic and AI, you're a one person or two person founder startup and you just use AI and you make magic and that's going to sustain the world somehow. And I just think it's again what you said earlier, it's white dudes at the helm of all of this.
Yeah, but also it doesn't work. AI is probably the worst thing to do it with because AI is even Anderson, that giant venture capitalist, says that like we're changing from product-led growth to service-led growth because you need to customize everything for AI. The silos that persisted and DevOps was supposed to overtake, but DevOps only really focused on the ops. Uh, and then platform engineering was supposed to overtake that. But you can't we've learned the hard way, you can't put everybody under one platform. So it's not going to work as the only solution because you can't just shove data science work in there. We learned that. I heard a wonderful talk years ago about how to adapt to agile for data scientists because it didn't always work. So that's just not how their work works. So you've got all this, and then what are we going to do? Like the silos are still there. The benefit of AI of being able to be closer to the feedback loops, to be closer to what your customers really want. Everything is comes on those integration at the API level of data. And we still don't have that down. So the idea of rolling out swarms of agents. First of all, I just talked to the CTO of ThoughtWorks last week, Rachel Laycock, and she was like, that's just not happening for enterprise. Same with I wrote a book last year on an ebook free, so you can have it, a playbook for AI for the enterprise. And it was sponsored by Intel and Red Hat, who target, not surprisingly, enterprises. And they're like, you can touch on agentic AI, and the best practices that help generative AI will help agentic AI, but enterprises aren't there yet. Maybe little tiny things that are not very exciting that probably could have automated. If one agent can do it, you probably could have been an automated automation instead of letting them act on their own. Keep it stricter and automate. But swarms of agentic AI is this thing that we keep hearing about. Whoa, it's not happening because the constructs that have kept, like, what is it, 70% of enterprises or Fortune 500 still in the mainframe?
Yeah.
We're not fixing the root cause. And then we're saying, it's okay. We don't need to fix the root cause because we'll just have self-contained thoughts doing it for us.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of fantasy and a lot of science fiction kind of I wouldn't even call it imagination because it seems very limited. It's not like diverse science fiction like Octavia Butler or different, like women or indigenous views of what imagination and technology or these things could be. And I don't care much about applications or code. Like for me, that's all kind of throwaway. It's like you were saying earlier, there's lots of code, there's lots of apps, but I want people to understand how to integrate and automate with the things that they depend on to do their day and understand that there's these little back doors called APIs. I mean, you and I back, 15 years ago in Spain, France, Germany, when you see that person light up that they can connect the dots on the things that matter to them, that's where it's at. And I don't feel like we're any closer to that than when you and I first met way back in the day.
No, it's the same thing. The only thing that's changed is docs a little bit. And I'm shocked, but AI is good at explaining things in a compelling way. So it kind of makes sense. Uh, because that was always the number one complaint. But the next was everything else around APIs, and still things are not fragmented in a logical way that they need to be modular to then integrate and stuff. It's every time we meet, it's the same thing.
I know. I
Maybe
feel
a
like,
little
yeah,
worse
we're just
now.
like nothing's changed. We're old, and now the kids are driving
Yeah.
us nuts. It's like, but it's the agent stuff really drives me crazy because it's like, well, you just have someone, manage your email and your calendar and your social and your all your, different your food delivery and your, and I'm like, do you know how hard it is to integrate across these? Like some of those don't even have APIs. I mean, like Substack doesn't have an API. I'm sorry, and there's plenty of services like that. And then even when they do, they're so inconsistent. Your keys management, and I believe there's a sleight of hand going on with the word token. And you as a writer, kind of you and I appreciate the wordplay, but like I feel like the tokenization of AI and the token of secrets, it's like it's a sleight of hand to get you to give up your secrets so that we can just get access to your data, and then we're done. We don't care if you were able to connect anything or solve any problems. We got what we need. We got your, access. So
It's the same from a consumer standpoint of the appification of everything. You need an app to
yeah,
buy from this site that's going to send you things from China.
yeah.
Do you? Do you? What are they actually, if they're selling a dress for £4, what are they actually getting profit off of?
Yeah. Yeah.
Data.
Yeah.
It's just I just don't understand this idea. I don't want my world connected in that way. I want to control what of my pieces are connected and integrated in things. So I can't imagine that I'd want AI ever publishing on my behalf. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy, but it's everywhere. A book author, we will say, a known book author reached out because I was like, something new had come out, and I was like, just to let's do a Q&A because you can do it well. Q&A is a format interview, but I was like, let's schedule that. He had instead responded half an hour later saying, here, I trained my book into AI and I wrote a Q&A that you can put under your byline. I just didn't respond. And like 4 days later, he was like, I, I realized that may have been received wrong. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, it fucking was. Like, thanks for thinking, like, it's just
Yeah.
not what I'm looking for in life, like of writing. And fortunately, for whatever reason, between writing and hosting, I think AI has actually led me, for now, knock on wood, to have more work because there's this need for authenticity
Yeah.
and especially helping people like what you're doing right now, having conversations like that are real humans, though I guess there's all these deep fakes now, but I just don't think either of us respectfully will be, thank God, ever that popular or famous to be deep faked. But who knows?
Yeah. It's I don't know. I finally found some peace when I came back into the kind of public sphere after working at Bloomberg for a while and just totally off the grid, because you can't say anything public while you're working at a company like that. And now, like AI, the whole everything bothered me, but now I'm kind of used to the noise. And that's all API Evangelist always was. Like, I don't give a shit about APIs. I don't give a shit about honestly, like I'm just looking for good stories, like and interesting people to talk to. And I was able to tap it, I would say 2012 through like 2015-ish, 16. I was able to kind of ride that wave of API management, full lifecycle API management, and find interesting stories and get things. And I'm getting back there now where I can figure it out, but I really am enjoying. I have my Kin Lane domain, which is just me ranting. I have API Evangelist, which is me ranting about APIs. And in both spaces, I don't use AI for any of it, but I have my Navtico, my company, my startup I'm building, and I'm trying to tone things down so it's not just full kin, because not every enterprise wants that. And so AI helps me kind of soften things but also I would say I'm using it on a defensive way. Like the person you said sent you an AI thing. I send them back an AI thing. Like, do you like it? And I get people go, oh, that AI thing. Oh, so you didn't realize it when you were doing it, but now back. So I've done it, I admittedly in defensive positions like that. And it's kind of interesting, but it's helping me kind of understand who's who in the space, who's real, who's not, how people see the world. And I think it's kind of revealing in that way.
Makes sense. Also, just not understanding the purpose of a job is if you, it just said something about thought leadership as well. Just like with developers, the baby developers that are just coming in and are these truly AI native, maybe they've joined in the last like 3 to 5 years, maybe even less. They don't really understand what they're talking about anyway, so they're trusting the AI. If you don't understand writing, or questionable because you wrote a book, but we'll figure out now if maybe you didn't write that book, uh, you aren't as good at it. So trusting, you still need to train the new people. There still needs to be young developers. I'm an advocate for junior developers. How else we gonna make senior developers? But I think it's just this whole idea of bringing the people that know the thing best into the conversation, which might be people that are not technical as well, but pairing them with technology.
Yeah.
Maybe do a throuple, I like to say. Instead of pair programming, now we've got two people and an
You should have
AI.
a business stakeholder, an engineering stakeholder, and AI kind of in harmony. I mean, but honestly, do you like writing? Do you enjoy the writing process?
Love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I do too. It's helps me make sense of the world. It helps me find sanity within the noise. But I maintain four newsletters a week, my personal one, my professional, and then two for my business. And I enjoy writing them every Sunday and Monday. Like it helps me orient myself in the week where I'm going, and I do it consistently enough now that it helps me. But I regularly get people who are like, that just seems like so much work. Why do you do that? And same with API Evangelist, 15 years, 5,000 blog posts are like so much work. And I'm like, no, it's important.
It's also kind of APIs are a good metaphor for the work you do because you may be writing and talking to people, but it's about connecting people
Yeah.
and making connections. So that's what APIs are.
Yeah, yeah. And APIs don't matter. Like producing an API doesn't matter until someone's using it, until that connection, that relationship exists. And so that's the gold. That's for me. That's what matters. That's the story.
And that's what tech is. It's not tech, it's socio-technical. The people and processes still are the hardest part and the most important.
Yeah.
Whether people, processes, and little agents now, maybe.
So what's with back to the platform thing, it's people, it's bringing people together, not necessarily everyone centralized government. It's it where I've seen it work is it's a federated, so it's kind of an alliance. It's I don't know if the United States is a good example, right now, but you know what I mean. But like, how can 50 states get together and align, and work together? But what is next for platform in the AI context, colliding against this whole AI kind of shitstorm?
I think it kind of makes sense, first of all, for platform and AI to go together because both of their goals were to eliminate the tedium of the work of the developers, or now it's expanding a bit to include other architects and other job roles. And so that makes sense to me. The AI needs some guardrails just like the humans do. And you want to make it easier to do the right thing because both of them can go off the golden path or the yellow brick road, I love as a euphemism. They can still wander off and get high in a poppy field or get snatched up by flying monkeys, which is not what you want them doing, distracted from their work. Their reason was to go to meet the wizard. He didn't do well, but that was their business. The business goal of the wizard was achieved. She's dead or not.
I still
Not spoiler.
recommend I still recommend the poppy field or the monkeys. Just occasionally, not all the time, but just you should at
Yeah,
least go through it once or twice.
that's fine. Yeah. But if it's a repetitive thing, if it's a rule of three, it should be automated. Should it be AI? I don't know because it probably should just be automated then. But platform's just the easiest way to also bring it comes back to the data. We're talking about APIs integrating system, but it's really about integrating data. That's what's interesting. That's the interesting value we know and saying it's new oil or whatever. That's what makes it's not about AI. It's about the data that drives the AI and trains it. Otherwise, crap in, crap out. So the best way to do that and to do this translation of all the different departments in an organization, all the different technology, the mainframe and the cloud native, is through a platform and to create this common language that, and this is where AI is interesting, that people can self-serve with a conversation overlay. So then when we have these conversations between the humans, it's more interesting. It helps inform, just like we were talking at the beginning about my ongoing conversation with AI about menopause. I'm not using AI to diagnose anything, but God, it's great at having an ongoing conversation with me and summarizing my thoughts when I have an 8-minute doctor's appointment. And it gives me good questions to ask. It helps me ask better questions of the domain experts. I hope to God they are, that are the doctors. So it's the same thing where the platform is the enabler of that common language, that translation, that bringing together the different parts so you can have a more productive conversation. That's
I
my
think there's an expertise, and Dunning-Kruger is one of them, but there's another uh, approach as far as you're an expert in one area, but you don't recognize it in another area. And for AI summaries, for me, that applies is if I'm not an expert, like menopause and being a doctor, it can be helpful in me sifting through. But when like I'm trying to work through my newsletter kind of overload right now. I have a lot of newsletters I read. Seem to all come in on Monday, like someone put out a memo that you only send them on Monday. But how can I load balance them throughout the week? How can I cull and get rid of some of them? How can and then the second part, that's the cognitive load part, but the other is subscribing. I only have so much money a month to subscribe to ones, but I want to support some of my author friends and people. And so how do I spread that out? And so I don't find AI summaries of newsletters that I'm an expert in help me because I have a different eye. Like Mike Amundsen's newsletter or any expert AI API expert, I want to read it because I have a unique eye for what's in there. I don't at all trust what the summary is going to pull together at all. But there are some things that I'm not an expert in that definitely it helps me. So
absolutely. And it's okay to use it as one way of consuming information. But it's dangerous when it becomes the only way anyone is consuming information. And makes me
yeah.
worry for the youngsters. It needs to be a part of school system, just like it needs to be part of job interviews. It's a tool. So absolutely encourage developers to use it if they want to during a job interview, because they're going to be using it there. Why would you have them on a whiteboard? What a fucked up thing we've put people through that they feel like they're in trouble at the principal's office. Have them using the tools they would use, put them in a natural circumstance, and then see what they do with those tools, how they work through, how they are using their cognitive thinking to understand what's good and what's not with the AI. Let them use whatever they want.
Yeah. Great. Well, I've taken up 30 minutes of your time. Anything else you want to share with the world that's compelling? One thing I do want to get is I'm working on some different events and conferences, and um, I don't want to be an event planner and get into managing conferences again. I'd shoot myself in it. I don't want to go there, but I'm really trying to get the human, the people, um, rejuvenate some of the old meetup energy we had, some of the conferences. So, like, what's your take on what's needed right now, kind of post-COVID, post everything, that's happened to us? Like, if you had someone, Daddy Warbucks, with money to pay for something, what's the best type of event right now that brings people together?
Roundtables, smaller conferences. I think people want to connect. Food, people still want free food. Don't get me wrong. Food is always an important part of any conference. Meetups have been living on pizza for years. But this idea of facilitated conversations, I'm seeing more and more demand, and frankly, I can charge more for in these smaller settings because for companies looking for leads, they're building relationships with their ICP that maybe it's just a room of 15 to 20 people around a couple tables. The Brits call it Chatham House rules. Stays in Vegas. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. You don't attribute, you're not recording it. You may share the learnings, of course, but you're not attributing someone's IP to something else. I think that's the wave of the future because you're building a relationship. You're learning immense information about your leads, and people just want relationships. Online events, as much as I love to host them, you have to have something unique or people aren't going to join live. They can watch it later, and that's fine. But there needs to be this mix of in person, but KubeCon this year, I'm excited to go because of the co-located day before, talking about platform engineering, much smaller. And I'm excited for like the after events and stuff. I'm not looking forward to the 13,000 person conference, and I don't know if anyone is. Maybe younger people that just want to get a bunch of free stuff if they got someone to sponsor their ticket. But I think we will soon hit that limit where people are not looking to spend that much money to sponsor or attend these mega conferences because ah, who wants to go to a mall and watch people talk? It's much better to have these smaller relationships with people that it's curated, not the conversation, it's facilitated, not, but it's curated that people have similar problems to you, maybe in the same sector or the same job role. You want to be in a room of diverse thought, but similar roles or similar issues they're going through, I think.